What's up guys, it's Ivan and today I am going to show you how to construct and write a competitive CV or resume for PhD applications. Before we get into the video, I do want to remind you that I do offer a CV or resume review service on the freelance platform called Fiverr, which is linked down below. With this service, I will help you construct a competitive, succinct CV or resume to make you a competitive applicant for master's or PhD programs. I look forward to working with you. The first thing that you want to do is you want to write your name in bold. This should be a minimum of 14 size font. I like to go with Times New Roman. You want to keep in mind that you want to make this document as easy to read as possible. And so the way to do that is by, having a font that is easy to read. So typically people use Times New Roman, so I would recommend that you use that as your font. Under your name, I want you to put a couple of things. For me, as you can see in this example, I put the university that I'm attending because I'm currently a PhD student at the University of California, San Diego. I'm in the Education Studies department. I put that I'm a PhD student, and then I have my email down below. But if you are someone who is not currently in school, what I recommend that you put down there is your email address, and make sure this email address is either a previous school that you attended that you still check in terms of the email, or a professional email. Remember, it's a professional document, so don't be cute with your emails. Then you also want to mention things like a website. Maybe if you have a website that you showcase a couple of your work, that way the committee has a chance of possibly clicking that link. It doesn't mean they're going to click that link to view your extra work, but if you include it in there, it at least gives you the option, or gives them the option of looking at some of your work via a website. If you don't have a website, try putting in your LinkedIn account. Make sure your LinkedIn account is up to date. And if you don't have any of that, then go to the more traditional route. The traditional route is usually putting your mailing address as well as your phone number. So add those two if you don't have a LinkedIn or a personal website or something else that you want to showcase to the committee. All of that should be in 12-point font, again, Times New Roman. And throughout the resume or CV, make sure most of the sub information is in 12-point font. The first section that you should have in your resume or CV is your education. So you want to provide the committee with an idea of your educational background. If you went to community college, put your community college degree and the school you went to and the year that you graduated. If you have a bachelor's degree, either in progress, already completed, put that. If you got 2 degrees like I did, put both degrees. You also want to add, if you have a master's degree, for example, put that as well. If you have any certifications or credentials you attained as a undergraduate student, mention that. I do want to caveat that because I've seen some resumes and CVs where people put so many certifications. These certifications, you should at least put 1, max 1, and it should be something that was really valuable to your experience and that led you to a PhD program. You want to keep in mind that whatever you put in your resume or CV has to tie back to why you're pursuing a PhD. Don't just put random things that don't relate to either your field or your reasonings behind wanting to pursue a PhD. So here in my example, because I'm a PhD student, I already put that information here. So I put that I'm in the PhD in Education Studies with the name of the program. Then I put the name of the university, where it's located, and my projection for graduation year. And then under that, I put my advisors, who were the people that are supervising my work. Under that, I put my master's program and the name of it, the location, as well as the year I graduated, and my advisor. Then I put my undergraduate experience. I got 2 bachelor's degrees, so I put both of those there, the name of the school, the location, and the year I graduated. Under that, I also put I was getting a teacher certification during my bachelor's degree, so I put that, the endorsement, and location and year. And the reason why I decided to put this certificate was because I'm going into the education field, so I wanted to let the committee know that I have teaching background and that I was able to pass this state test to get the certification. So all these advisors were people that reviewed my work, specifically research. Again, a PhD is a research degree, so all the things you're gonna be putting in your resume or CV should be research related. Don't just put like advisors that helped you with course planning. That's not valuable. You're gonna want to put people that are well known in your field that you have conducted research with or under the supervision of. of. So that's why I chose to do that. If you don't have advisors that helped you with research, I recommend that you do not put those people under this section. In this section, if you only have, let's say, 2 things or 1 thing, some other things you can mention under your degree are maybe a GPA, or maybe if you got summa cum laude, for example, or some type of other national award, put that under there. If you got a campus-wide award that was only given to a certain percentage of students, write that down there. That way it can beef up your education section. Like I mentioned before, a resume and CV for a PhD program should be focused on research. So your next section should most likely be research experience. So that's what I put here. So when you are constructing your research experience section, you want to do a couple things. You want to mention the organization or university or the name of the organization that you kind of do the work at. So for example, for me, I had one at the University of California, and the project was called University of California Listen Project. I forgot to put the project part of it, but that's the intention there. Under that, I put the advisor that was supervising me, so I put the name of that person. On the far right, I put the location, so La Jolla, California, and under that, I put the dates of when I conducted the work. As you can tell, I started in 2022 until now, so it's still present. So I want you to copy that exact same structure in your CV or resume. Under that, you have to have at least 3 to 5 bullet points describing your experience. The first bullet point should always be a description of the project. So as you can tell, I put here the name of the project. I could have maybe mentioned a little bit more about what it was, but keep it precise and detailed. Name the project, what it is, and what the objectives are. Under that, you want to mention what your role was. What did you actually do? So for me, I had to recruit participants for the program. I also taught the research process to high school students, and I put down the 2 projects that I was working with of the 2 high schools that I was working with. So I want you to mention things like the objectives or the purpose of the project, your methodology, the results, the findings, and what you actually did with the project. Do that for all of your experiences. I'm not going to go through all my experiences, but as you can tell, I have 4 experiences here, and I follow the exact same structure that I shared earlier on. The next section that I have is what I'm calling ongoing research projects. And what this is, it's pretty much a list of projects that I'm currently working on that I haven't finished. So I'm telling the committee, even though I'm applying to your PhD program, I'm still working on projects that I potentially want to continue working on while a PhD program. And so here I wrote down the title of the project and a brief description of what I'm doing. In the description, you want to mention again the objectives, the methods you're using, your hypotheses, why you're doing this research, why it's important, and maybe you can write a last sentence that says how you want to either, or what you hope you want to do with the results of this project. So how are you going to disseminate the results? Or maybe if you want to continue this work at the PhD level, you can write a sentence saying like, I want to expand on this work at the PhD level. So as you can tell here, I'm working currently on 4 different projects, and personally, I'm hoping to publish all those 4. The next section here is titled Articles Submitted and Under Review. I forgot to mention this before, but these headings should be detailed, specific, unique, as well as at least a 14 size font. And so when I say specific and unique, I mean that it should kind of tell the reader, if they're skimming, what they should expect to read more about. So here, as you can tell, I put articles submitted and under review. That's telling the committee that I'm gonna share with them articles that I already submitted for publication and articles that have been submitted before that they're reviewing currently. Instead of me saying this section to be called publications, I wanted to be specific in terms of what they should expect to look at or read, because if they're skimming through my resume or CV, which they probably will, they know exactly what they're gonna be finding in this section if they want to read further. So I want you to be specific and unique with your subheadings. So here, I basically just put the articles that I submitted and are under review. So in parentheses, you can tell that I put submitted, 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 and then one of them has already been reviewed and they gave us a revise and resubmit. As you can tell, I also bolded my name so they know if I was a first author, second author, third author, etc. And you want to follow the structure, an APA style structure, or whatever your field recommends. That's how you should be writing your publications. So as you can tell, I put my last name, I put the name of the work and the journal that I was submitted it at. Right now I don't have the year, etc., because it's not published yet, but once it gets published, I'll update it. My next section is called conference presentations, and like the title says, here I put all of the presentations that I have had. I chose to do it as a PhD student, but because you are applying for PhD programs, write any presentations starting from your first year in undergrad until present. And you want to follow a similar structure like whatever your field recommends in terms of publication. So for me, I started with putting the name of the conference. So for example, the first bullet here says the American Educational Research Association, AERA, annual meeting. Next, I followed that with the type of presentation. I did a roundtable presentation. I followed that with the month and year, April 2023, and then it ends with the name of the project. So I want you to follow a similar format when you are writing your conference presentations. Make sure you're writing bullets and try to write at least minimum 3. Then I have a section called invited talks, and these invited talks are either research, or if I did a workshop, or if I was invited for a panel. Whatever people invited me to do, I put that in this section. And for me, I wanted to show the committee that I'm an expert in something, right? And so people are inviting me to share my knowledge to an audience. And that's really what I wanted to communicate to the committee, because as a PhD student, as a scholar, you are going to be an expert in some field, right? And so you want to show that you are already an expert if you have this expertise. You don't have to have it, but since I do, I wanted to show that to the committee. So as you can tell, I'm going to do an example. So the first bullet, I put invited speaker for the 2022 Washington State Trio Association First Generation Conference, November 2022, and the name of the workshop. The next section is called teaching experience. And so for you as a prospective PhD applicant, I want you to write things again starting from undergrad until now that relate to teaching. For me, I chose to write my education studies department. I was a TA during my PhD program, and so I put the name of the department, my role, the university I taught at, and the year. So I only taught for the first 2 years of my PhD program. You want to have 3 to 5 bullets describing exactly what you did with teaching. My last bullet here is the courses I taught. So I taught a plethora of courses, 1 per quarter as a TA. And so I mentioned those. I want to make sure that the committee knows that I have some type of teaching experience. Something I could probably still add to my CV or resume here is my undergraduate teaching experience as a teacher assistant for my teacher prep program, which I could add as a reasoning or as an experience for teaching, but I didn't add it for this one. Then the next section, I get into my more practical experience. So my unique subheading here is community college professional experience. I specifically added this unique subheading because my research and my work is focused on community college. So I want the committee to know that I have practical experience in the community college sector, which ties in with my research, which they'll read more about in my statement of purpose, as well as the work that I want to do as a PhD student. So I mentioned that I was a Title V HSI STEM grant project director at San Diego Miramar College, and I started that job in June 2023 till present. And as you can tell, I only have 3 bullets that are meaty. I want you in these 3 bullets to be specific and detailed. Use numbers to describe your impact of your work. The goal of these bullets should be impact. How are you impacting students, and how are you impacting communities? In that section, I kept it really short. I only wrote, again, community college experience, so I only have 3 full-time work experiences. So make sure that you're succinct when you're choosing your experiences. If you're out of undergrad and don't have many experiences, then I suggest that you write the most relevant experiences and write as many as you can. The final section that I have for this resume and CV for a PhD program is honors and awards. I decided to put mine in bullets, and really what I did here is I put the name of the honor or award, whatever it was, and at the end I put the year. And so I really just have a list of the most relevant and prestigious honors. So I want you to do the same thing. If you got research funding, put the amount in parentheses after you describe or after you write the name of the award or honor. Alright guys, so that concludes my video on how to to write a competitive CV or resume for a PhD program. Let me know if you have questions down below in the comment section, and I look forward to answering your questions. As a reminder, again, if you want me to help you construct a competitive CV or resume for your PhD application, go to the link down below and click on my Fiverr account, place an order, and I will get started on your feedback. Thank you for watching this video, and I will see you in the next video.